Mavaka Guy.
What's happening, good people? Welcome back to the Mavaka Guy channel. Today we've got a case that's really strange, as more than 500,000 people disappear without a trace every single year. In 2009, something even stranger happened. A man appeared. No identity, no past, no record of where he came from. Peter Bergmann never existed. This is one of the greatest internet mysteries of all time. In June 2009, a man calling himself Peter Bergmann arrived in Sligo, Ireland. He checked into a small hotel, paid in cash, and carried a single worn-out bag. He provided an address in Vienna. It seemed normal, but later, investigators noticed something was off.
He signed in using the name Peter Bergmann, Bergmann. Some countries use one N, others use two. The indications are that Austrian nationals use two N's. That's the name he used, that's the name he signed, with an address in a city called Wien, or Wien in Austria. He didn't provide any documentary proof of his identity. We know from inquiries with the Austrian police that such an address does not exist.
For 3 days, he left the hotel with a purple plastic bag. CCTV captured Bergmann walking all over town. Police analyzed every step he took. Every time he carried a purple plastic bag. Every time he came back empty-handed. But the deeper they investigated, the stranger it got.
The purple plastic bag was becoming more significant. It was quite clear that he was disposing of items of personal property in and around Sligo. We would have done extensive searches throughout Sligo, be it rubbish bins, public areas, gardens of properties, private properties, car parks. We even searched the local dump in the hope that we might have been able to find some of his property that might have helped us to identify who he actually was. He had obviously all of this planned during some of the occasions that he left the hotel, where he was going to dispose of the next piece of property or the next bag of clothing or whatever was in the bag. CCTV cameras are highly visible all over Sligo town. It's quite likely he would have identified their locations. If he didn't, we would have picked up where he was disposing of the clothing. So whilst he had no difficulty with people seeing him on the CCTV and his movements, he certainly went to great lengths to ensure that the property that he disposed of was never found, because that is not identifiable anywhere on any of the CCTV.
Bergmann wasn't just avoiding attention, he was systematically erasing himself. No ID, no passport, no record of entry into Ireland. It was as if he never existed and never wanted to be found.
It appears that he used a false name. He certainly used a false address. There are no passports, or have been no passports issued to a male of that name, fitting that description or that age profile, anywhere in mainland Europe, America and South America. No record in any of those locations of a Peter Bergmann.
He walked the streets of Sligo 13 times in 3 days. He moved with purpose, never lingering, never drawing attention. He bought 8 international stamps. The police tried to figure out what for.
On the Saturday itself, we established that he had gone into the post office here in Sligo. He had purchased 8 82-cent stamps and airmail stickers. Now, we were never able to establish where those letters were posted, to who the letters were posted, or when he posted them. But certainly he had obviously correspondence to send to someone, somewhere.
On his last day, Bergmann checked out of his hotel and walked to the bus station. He ordered a cappuccino and a sandwich, then sat at a table. Witnesses saw him write something on a piece of paper, and he stared at it for a few minutes.
Did appear to take paper from his pocket and wrote notes. Now obviously we were working in reverse. It was 3-4 days afterwards when we were viewing this footage, so we didn't have the benefit of being able to secure whatever piece of paper he had torn up.
That afternoon, Bergmann took a bus to Ross's Point Beach. Witnesses saw him walking back and forth along the shore fully dressed, shoes in hand. At 10:50 p.m., under the moonlight, he was still pacing. Someone talked to him.
We were walking back up towards the ramp, and the man was walking down the ramp, obviously to come onto the beach when we first encountered him. He had grey hair, black leather jacket, pale enough skin. He didn't really say anything to us. We said hello to him. He nodded back, and he didn't say anything else. Only for the fact that it was 10:30, 11 o'clock. I would have completely forgotten about it, just like any other encounter I have with any other person every day.
The next morning, a father and son were walking on Roses Point Beach. Through the mist, they spotted something in the sand. At first, they thought it was a mannequin. As they got closer, though, the truth became impossible to ignore.
And I noticed this, almost something from a shop window, like a mannequin that was in the sand. And of course, as I got closer, I realised it was actually a person, and that he seemed to have drowned. That was a little shock for the system.
I suppose in a way you go into autopilot mode and do what you have to do, alert the Gardaí.
Bergmann was lying face down in the sand, just beyond the waterline. He was wearing a navy t-shirt and black underwear, nothing else. His clothes were neatly folded nearby. And then came the strangest detail of all.
The clothing that was on the deceased body, he had removed each individual label from those clothes. It just shows the level of planning, the level of detail he had gone into to ensure that he was never identified. We were obviously getting a picture at that stage that this man had meticulously planned his final days, his final act, and the lengths that he went to was just unbelievable.
Police assumed it was a simple drowning, but nothing made sense. No water in his lungs, no signs of struggle or injury. His belongings were missing. The autopsy revealed something very unusual.
When we did the rest of the medical examination, we found that he has extensive cancer of his prostate and he had tumour in his bone. There were other findings. There was evidence of previous heart attacks. Toxicology report showed that there was no evidence of the common painkillers. There was no evidence of aspirin, paracetamol, or indeed any opiate-based painkillers. So, for somebody that has that extensive disease, that would be a little bit unusual.
The official cause of death? Acute cardiac arrest. His heart failed, likely just moments before he could disappear into the sea. If not for that heart attack, he would have vanished forever.
The truth is, we may never know what actually happened in those last few minutes and what he was hoping to achieve. What we can say, he was there. It would seem that something happened. Who knows?
But the mystery didn't end with his death. It only deepened. Who was Peter Bergmann? A terminally ill man choosing to die alone? A fugitive escaping his past? A former spy erasing himself before it was too late? The investigation intensified.
From really the moment that his body was found, washed up on the rocks at Rosses Point Beach, we started to carry out the investigations. We explored every conceivable option that was available to us. We used the media both in mainland Europe, nationally and internationally. We had secured his DNA, his fingerprints. Those were circulated to all police forces. He did not feature in any jurisdiction. He may have had the belief that his remains would have been washed out to sea and may never have been found.
Maybe Peter Bergmann wasn't running from someone. Maybe he just wanted to die alone. But the way he did it, the fake name, the erased identity, the missing belongings, he left behind more questions than answers.
He left a footprint, basically on CCTV. The images themselves are haunting in the sense that he remained on his own. He didn't communicate or mingle with anyone. In effect, he was writing the last days of his life, and it was all done on his own terms. according to his own plan. And that's quite obvious now with the benefit of hindsight.
Can anyone truly vanish in the modern world? Or does the act of erasing yourself ensure you'll be remembered forever? Peter Bergmann is now an internal mystery and one of the greatest mysteries of the internet age.
I have to be satisfied with our investigations at this time that Peter Bergmann does not exist. It's highly likely that he never did.
Thanks for watching, and if you do enjoy these kind of videos, do make sure to subscribe. Give it a thumbs up, whatever called, thumbs up, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Just do whatever you want, and hopefully you do subscribe to the channel, and I will be posting more of these kind of videos, as well as anything that's trending. This news happened back, like I said, almost, 16 years ago? But it still amazes me how this person just disappeared off the face of the earth. What do you think, though? Let me know in the comment section below. What happened to this guy? The real deal. Comment down below. Take care. We'll see you on the flip side. This is Mavakaga.